All right, so this is take two. Yesterday I did this, and we're pruning apple trees today. And so these small stand of old apple trees predated my existence here, but you know, I get to take care of them now, which is kind of fun. And so we're gonna do what I've done in the past, where I chat and catch up with my friends and family on video. But since I don't have 20 minutes to have a conversation with all of you individually, we're going to take care of a task on my task list. I'm going to set a timer now and see if I can do this without getting interrupted with neighbors, or and also doing the task while being chatty. So this is not a how-to video on pruning, because there's plenty of instructional videos out there. This is just, I had a thing to get done, and I wanted to talk to you guys and catch up a little bit, because the world is an interesting place, and we're all doing our best out here. And yeah, so I will give you the brief overview on pruning so that I can have it in my head as I'm talking to you about it. But I start with all the easy stuff on the bottom. Every year it sends up new suckers and branches that you just don't need, because the tree wants to grow up. And if you have a tree that goes up, you have tree, and if you have a tree that grows down, you have fruit. So I'll be trimming and pruning to make it so that I've got outside buds, and so that I get rid of all the vertical wood and the wood facing back into the tree, any dead wood, as well as crisscrossing wood that will rub on each other and cause dead wood. We don't want that either. And I have a variety of tools to do this. I'm experimenting with a cheap knockoff electric pruner, because you find that you get older and muscles hurt more. So you look for the little tips and tools. And it's hard to get the leverage in certain spots when you're working over your head. So right now we're starting off with the electric pruners, because why the heck not? And we're thinning out the base canopy of the tree so that I can get a ladder in here without harming the tree so much. And I think the real trick to pruning is knowing that not every cut is going to be the right one. And that generally you're not going to kill the tree unless you really screw it up. But I sanitize my tools in between each pruning session, so you're not spreading disease around. And do my best to make my educated guesses on how this tree wants to live. And I'm not going to get it right all the time. This is also an experiment, because yesterday I tried to do this, and the microphone kept falling off because this vest is not conducive for clipping a microphone on. And so I have it on the rim of my hat today until it falls off. And I got a bright blue little muff on it so that when I drop it, it's easier to find. Well, like I said, we'll go around the bottom, crossing branches, suckers, verticals that I don't want to be there, balancing the structure of the tree with what buds I see that'll be good for apple production, dead stuff from the past. If you want to keep that, I kind of want to keep that branch. What is this? What is this? And I find it cathartic. And then behind me, you'll see me wave every once in a while. The red buildings here, that's the tasting room. And the brewery guys and gal are showing up for work. I was out here a little bit before everybody, because I have to work in the shoulder pockets of time in my life on this project, because I'm very dedicated to my regular 9 to 5, because I really enjoy it and we're doing good work. Well, which kind of brings me onto the topic of today's video, and I've been meaning to shoot, but it's tough. I don't like talking about myself. But the Food Cyclist channel, you know, like we've talked about this before, is a way for me to hone my personal, my messaging on the personal brand, so to speak. Really, it's just to catch up with family and friends. But when I feel uncomfortable talking about myself, that I've got a lot of people who are asking me questions, I'll make a video like this so that I can catch up everybody at the same time. Now I've said that like 3 times within the length of this video, and that's okay. Busy minds. So things I got rolling around in my head as I prune the tree today are the various areas of my life. So you see me doing work on the brewery right now, brewery grounds, to bring my fruit trees back up to good health. One of the things that maybe I make a show you about in the future is that these trees got all these suckers on it, which means they had more vegetation. And in a wet year, now they're developing moss. And I don't want that. I don't want sunburn and scald on the apples and the bark, but I need to increase airflow because now they're growing moss, and you're going to get dead wood and rot out of that. Man, this little cutter thing, it's heavy, which wears your hand out a little bit. You can go two-handed for those tricky spots, but is it nicer than doing it all completely by hand? I got the by hand one in my pocket, the manual. But this morning, this guy's just fine. Just fine. Anyways, so working on the brewery. My involvement with the brewery these days is at relative arm's length. 3 years ago, due to the restrictions of the town over time, I had to take work off property to be able to afford having a family in Connecticut. Connecticut is a very expensive place to raise a family. And the brewery is successful. It's one of the best breweries in the Northeast. It's definitely one of the best in Connecticut. Ooh, can I cut through this? I made it. A little bit of a stretch, but we'll take it. And with or without me, it'll continue to succeed, which is nice. It's a thing I helped build with my partners, and now I get to see it continue to thrive and flourish. But because of the restrictions of the town, I can't really be an active operator because I can't afford my life. You know, my wife's a teacher at Montessori school. I send my kids to that Montessori school. Costs me money. That's nobody else's burden but my own. But I had to move out of the business. So I got a day job, and I do digital marketing on the internet, which coincides with all my other jobs, which is great. So one job is a 9 to 5, selling stuff on the internet, and where 50% of the profits go to mental illness research. And that, to me, is one of the most glorious things ever, because talk about scaling impact. Mental illness is one of those things that the younger generations are talking about more. Not all of the older generation accept to acknowledge that it is a topic of importance, and definitely are uncomfortable with the nuances of it. But younger generations, I'm finding, are way more open about the topic in general. And the fact that I get to dedicate my 9 to 5 time to generating profits to funnel into mental illness research brings me joy. Plus, I also I work with one of the best teams I've ever worked with. Very intelligent people. I'm not the smartest person in the room by a long stretch. There's a lot of talent, a lot of skill, and a lot of creativity. And what a healthy place for me to be. Some of these I'm going to have to come back for with a different tool. But right now, we're just broad strokes. All right, can I get anything if I turn this way? Yes, I can. Try to minimize your ladder moves as much as possible. So job number one is I'm a family man, and generally my decision making matrix starts at that family level where I will have to make moves in my life based on what the needs of my small family are, and then by extension the needs of my big family. Small family, that's the way we describe it at our house. Your small family is like your small nuclear unit inside lives in the same house. And then your big family is extended family. And then I'm blessed with a lot of friends and social circles based on the experiences that I've had over life. And I just sent everybody the Connecticut Art Directors Club interview I did with Mike Marks. And he did a great job of putting that together. And it was nice because I don't like to talk about myself, to have somebody else interview me, which takes the pressure off of me trying to build a narrative out of my life, which I don't enjoy doing. Here's a pickle, because I want to keep a lot of it, and at the same time, I don't. We're going to go big loppers on this one. So I had my nice interview with CADC. You got to hear a bunch of my backstory. I will link to that in the description for this video, in case you missed it. But great backstory on why I'm doing what I'm doing and where I ended up, how I ended up where I ended up. Sometimes inside, you have to pull out the little hand pruners and go for it. All right, call that good. Walk away from it, John. Walk away from it. So job number one, family man. I make my decisions based on the needs of my family, both my immediate family and then my parents, who need some extra support because they're parents. And I love them, and they took care of me all my life. And now that they might need a few extra things, physically and mentally, I would like to be there for them. And this part of having that 9-to-5 job is the compartmentalization that offers me. And that, no matter what, that 9-to-5 will cover my bills. And at the end of the day, with all these projects that I have going on, sometimes I need to go dark on a project or not publish a YouTube video for a couple months because I'm doing something at home or helping someone out or prepping for a big product launch or whatever. Of all the jobs that I work, that's the one that will always get the most attention because it gives me health care and a salary, and I have responsibilities there. So then I have, which one do we want to do? We have the total job count is the digital marketing day job, the family, farm marketing solutions, which is I'm an independent author who uses content to market my books. That's my one-line business plan there. And then I've got the farm brewery here, which is Connecticut's first farm brewery, which is amazing. There's my neighbor, Emilia. Good morning. I'm going low and then I'm going high. Said I'm going low and then I'm going high. I figure I'll do the ladder work when there's more people at home to call 911 when I die. Maybe I'm a little faster with the hand clippers here. Found some poison ivy too. So yeah, Farm Marketing Solutions, independent author using content to market my books. I published 3 books and a whole bunch of other stuff. I got 1,000 videos plus on the internet. And, you know, for you watching this now, this channel is not monetized yet, so I'm not earning anything from it. It's really just my friends and family channel. But my other channel is monetized. And now I'm picking up some more work. So here we are. So with Farm Marketing Solutions this year, I'm making more videos, making some podcasts, doing some interviews, and staying involved with the American Pasture Poultry Producers Association, as a volunteer and occasional hired gun for their marketing board, marketing committee. Because I believe in pasture poultry and pasture livestock as a way to save the world. And then we have the brewery. The brewery behind me, like I said, I stepped away from active management 3 years ago, pretty much coinciding with some public meetings to try to make it more of a viable entity here on property. And it didn't go well. And we don't have to go into the depths of that because that will be covered this year. We'll talk more about it. But needless to say, the town of Kent is kind of a horrible place to do business in. And in their defense, we are operating a commercial entity in a residential zone because a farm is commercial and a brewery is commercial. And so they are looking to keep Kent rural. And we had a bunch of neighbors who would lie about us openly. And that combination of things made it so that we are extremely limited in what the brewery can do, which de facto limits what the farm can do, because nobody on planned zoning, or a few people anywhere, know or appreciate what it is to be a farm these days, and that the small farm structure has adapted to include agritourism, because we have a whole generation of education that needs to happen if farms are to continue. Farms are disappearing at record rate, not just small farms, but the big commodity farms. The land is being bought up by developers and then being rented back to the farms. And we're in the late stage capitalism where everything is renters capitalism, and there's a gatekeeper and toll collector at every step of the process. It's the middlemen getting rich off the backs of everybody else. And that's where we're at. And Kent's got a lot of rich people in it. If we want to see their rich properties stay quiet, and having a community center and a farm with smells and noises that coincides with a brewery, which is often a community center and a place for people to gather and talk, that was built by hand by a group of friends. Just too much for them to take. So here we are. So the needle keep repeating topics, and I apologize for that. But I'm also, it's like chewing gum and walk. I can't think about what I'm going to cut next and da-da-da-da-da, and have words spew out of my mouth. Don't use the word spew. It's gross. Let's get the electric thing now. Dee-dee-dee. And so let's review our list, I guess. You know, that's what I do, is I go over the things that I have to do in my head over and over again. I have checklists, and I have checklist apps, and I have spreadsheets, and I have budgets. But those are all just in an attempt to help me organize what goes on in my brain. Part of our pruning is to make it so it's not so brutal when the guys come through here with the mower, whether it's me or somebody else, and they don't get clipped in the face by apple branches. Oh, I never said what I'm doing on property, so we'll do that, and then we'll do the overview. This one. Every cut is gonna be incorrect, and you never really know until the next year. Oh well. So with the farm brewery, it was my farm that I started and grew with my friends over the last decade plus. And it's my baby. This was, it was beautiful. It's beautiful here, but it was a pile of crap. The buildings were run down, falling down. There was garbage buried in the landscape. And, it took years of remediation to fix things up and make it look nice. It's one of those curses of the middle class, is that when you put your blood, sweat, and tears into something and make it look nice, people are like, oh, you must have money. Oh, you must, must be nice to be you with all that money. No, man. I mean, like, we built this all from scratch, and the amount of family parties I had to miss, and things that I had to do. There's our 20-minute marker, but I'm not done pruning today. So we'll just go until I've got my stopping point. I want to get this branch and that branch, and then we'll call it. And I'll leave all the sticks on the ground, piss Barry off. Love you, buddy. There's a slim chance you're going to watch this video, but in case you do. And so we build up the nice thing, we polish it. I build a lot of things from scratch. And then it just got to the point, as the world gets more expensive and the rich people get richer, the not rich people get not richer. And to afford my family, took the job off farm. Yada, yada, yada. Well-traveled ground at this point. And we tried to rent the farm out and still keep it a farm. It had a very, very agreeable lease situation with people who we thought knew what they were doing. And turns out, over a year and a half, they absolutely trashed the place. Completely disrespected, completely destroyed most of the farm infrastructure. The house that's behind me, completely destroyed it. And now 2026 is a rebuild recovery year, and lick our wounds, find the money to repair, and recover and reevaluate. And as my business partners are still very actively managing the business, but I'm not, I wanted to step in and do the things that I love, that I stepped away from for a while to try to get somebody else the opportunity to farm here. And it all went to crap. But there's no money to be made for the brewery from somebody keeping the fruit trees pruned, unless we use the fruit in the beer, which we do, which maybe that's my goal this year, is to increase our fruit production in the brewery, and what we can do with our on-site stuff to continue their farm brewery legacy that we built. So now let's get into the overview, because this video is getting kind of long, and I can appreciate that you have things to do. And when I talk to my buddy Ken, he says, keep him to 10 minutes. Well, this one's going to be a 30 to 40. Sorry, Ken. And so my balance this year, let's figure that one out. I actually made a spreadsheet about this because it's hard to keep all in my head, and there's like different initiatives at different times and all the things. So I got my family and my family events. The last couple years I have spent my vacation days in the hospital, tending for ones that I love. So I haven't really gone on a vacation in 3 years, which is okay, because I don't really have the money for it either. This year we have figured out some budget vacation scenarios that I'm very much looking forward to, and I get to take my girls out. And because I have that compartmentalization of the things that I'm doing, and I'm not on call 24/7, I will be able to freely unplug and enjoy the family time that I'm able to cobble together. Let's hold sharp tools and stand on an icy hill while talking. Yeah. All right. I've got my 9 to 5, which has its own seasonality. It's always busy, because there's always something to do, but it definitely has certain times of the year that really take all your mental power. So I plan around that. It feels good to like be alive in the moment and get stuff done and achieve your business goals and your KPIs. As part of raising my family, I have Farm Marketing Solutions, which I want to continue. That's my thing that I want to leave for my kids, even if it's just the story of trying to do a good thing, teaching people how to raise livestock out on pasture and raise chickens and sequester carbon and continue the conversation around what it is to have a healthy planet and live a productive life that's symbiotic with nature. I think it's super important. And so Farm Marketing Solutions will get some attention with videos, podcasts, etc. And I'm not going to write any more books this year because I have 2 that I would really, really love to dig into. But for now, I'm going to build out my notes and just go that route and accept the fact that I'm not going to write another book for another year. Man, to be independently wealthy and just to work on my projects, I would never have a lack of things to do, and I would get so much done. But that's not a resource that I have. The American Pasture Poultry Producers Association works double dips with my farm goals and with my FMS goals. And it's a poultry organization, and it's the people that I need to survive to have both clientele for my consulting product and case studies for my content of success. And like I went to the chicken conference this year and met people who started with my book and then got my other books and then built a couple chicken tractors and then scaled up their chicken tractors, and they went from raising 100 birds to raising 14,000 birds this year. Bob in Ohio. Bob, if you're watching, think about you all the time, buddy. And, people from all over with similar stories. And there's an obligation there for me to continue because they said, if you do nothing else, just keep making content. Because they know how hard I toil to think about my content and my topics that I end up putting out on the internet. Can I get a ladder in there? I'll hit that branch. I want to keep going. It's like a lot of fun. I was out here early. Had about an hour today. So I get to double dip a little bit with APA. And at the end of the day, the rising tide lifts all ships. I thought a description the other day that was pretty apt. That APA is like the group project in high school, where everyone works hard on it. No one really cares about the credit as long as you get a good grade. And that's a good summary of APA, man. That's like there's a whole lot of people putting an irrational amount of energy into ensuring that pasture poultry moves forward because there's really no other pasture poultry organizations out there. This is the one. They have an initiative where they petitioned the USDA and the FDA to codify the definition of pasture raised to make it less confusing for people in the store who would like to support the kind of work that I do and farms that I run and work with, but are confused by labeling that have been co-opted by large corporations. And so to help those people specifically, APA is not only helping the growers grow, but doing the legislative work that ensures the next generation has marketing terms to use because farming is hard enough without corporate interference. If you could leave me alone, I would appreciate it. Typically, I don't cross over trees, but these two have been rubbing up against each other and they're interrelated. That is just satisfying. Super satisfying. I'm sold on this little electric snippy thing. I've done it all with manual hand tools in years past and in my old age. I'm loving the mechanical advantage. So I got home, I got farm marketing solutions, I have my day job, and then we get down to the brewery. That's some dead wood. I don't want that in there. And so we tried to rent it. The people destroyed it. And now we're in a rebuilding year. And so I will raise a homestead batch of chickens, about 100 broilers, easy peasy. I can do it in my sleep. I did it last year. You guys saw it on this channel. And then I'm going to raise a couple pigs, handful of pigs, half a dozen, 4, something. We'll see when I actually get them. Never count your pigs before they're on your farm, pigging around. Sorry, I had to focus. That was a big one. I will tend the hops, which have not been tended, and tend the fruit trees, which have not been pruned or tended. Get an update on what diseases are here. What does everything need? Reinstitute a nutrient program, etc. I did all that for more than a decade and a half. So while it sounds like a lot, some of that stuff is kind of second nature. I have notes and spreadsheets already built from the past, and then I have interested neighbors who have seen what it's like to not have me farm here and said, that was really terrible. Can we help make this a reality? So in the essence that the brewery is a community space and always has been, my community reached out and said, can you farm again? And I said a resounding yes, but I will need help. And they said, oh, we got it. And these are people I trust. So I get to farm in 26 and recover the property. My goals are realistic based on the fact that there's so much repair and recovery effort to undergo, which is exhausting to think about. And at the end of the day, it'll be mowed, it'll be tidy, and it'll be ready for 2020 seasons. It's become second nature to think of life in seasons and how you do a little effort each year to try to make it better year over year and leave it better than you found it. That was a Boy Scout, whatever phrase, ethos that I picked up from my utes. All right, we about ready to walk away from this? Hold on. Whenever you're not sure, step back and take a look. Because then you're going to see the stuff that you missed. That is just obvious and you want to take care of it now. Get you. And you. You can almost do a drinking game for every time I said and so on this video. But it's good warm up, because now I'll have shot this video. I'll get my rough cut out that I can send to my aunt, and she will watch it and say, wow, that was really nice of you. Thank you. And I will say, I love you. You're wonderful. And we'll go about our days. I can share it with the people who need a quick update. But also my brain and the muscles that I use for content creation and creativity now have spiked, because I tried to put something together. I had to check all my cameras and batteries and storage to make even this happen. I got the dog out and about, who got to see the brewery folks as they showed up for work today. And got to spend my little time in nature. And I can stand back, and every time I drive by these trees, I'll be like, ah, yes, it's pruned. I should have done that better. I missed that one. I could stand on that branch safely, get a few more, and we'll do that. There's poison ivy on the trunk, and I'm wearing plastic boots that get really slippery when they're cold and wet, but this is safe enough when my fall isn't too dramatic. Plus, I'm curious to see in the different environments what the audio is like with wearing the microphone on my hat, because generally I have a hat on, and the microphone on a shirt or something is unreliable. As I found out yesterday, halfway through my video, I dropped my mic in the snow. Yeah, we'll take out the bitter. Smooth. I'll just keep going. Anyways. All right, so let me take you on a quick tour. And we're going to cut out the last couple minutes of nonsense. So, not too much work. Just, you see, chipping away. And what I want is that they look pretty bare, but it's an old established apple tree. And off every cut is going to sprout new life. And it's like cutting your fingernails. The tree likes it, grows back happier and healthier. Getting rid of the dead wood, old fingernails. Trying to get rid of any crossing sections like this. Like I might even just lose this whole end here because I got some necrotic wood there. So I'll bring it back to here. See, trees don't heal, they compartmentalize and they'll close around it. But if you have an open spot where it wasn't able to heal properly, you get dead wood and that dead wood can feed back into the tree. You're better off cutting it further back and letting it sprout new branches and train to that. And there's 1.5 million decisions when you're pruning trees, but it's still easy compared to the 1.5 million decisions that we have to make to exist in the world these days. So hope you have an awesome day. I am going to go warm my toes and my dog up and get my work done. I did the lower part of the trees so far, and then the last step will be to come back with the bigger ladder, because I don't have a fruit ladder, and climb up in the tops. But if I'm going to climb in the tops, probably not going to do it in plastic boots. I'll do it in regular boots where it's a little safer. Awesome. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you soon.